you put the seed into the rock wool or the jiffy pellet, or even both, depending on what you fancy doing at the time. They then would like to go into a propagator. A propagator basically acts as like an external womb for the rock wool, the jiffy pellet. It creates maximum humidity in the environment. In so doing, it stabilises the environment, encourages the seed to germinate. Now, we recommend putting your seedlings and cuttings in. They don't want to be sat in a puddle of water, okay, but a little bit of excess water in the drain is not going to hurt. But, as I said, do not let the rock wool have direct contact with that puddle of water. In so doing, the rock wool or the jiffy pellet will become waterlogged, and that will be no good for your seedlings. Now, what would happen is you'd put them in, you'd shut the lid, and you then close the air vents, and before long the whole chamber becomes covered in moisture, in condensation. You would then put that in a very warm sort of environment, airing cupboard. If you have a heated propagator, you don't have to worry about that, you just turn the heat on. However, that's dependent on the time of year. If it's anything like the weather at the moment, which is approximately 30 degrees, you don't need to put that in an airing cupboard. Okay, it will do quite happily on its own in a normal room. If it's the middle of the winter, then ideally it would want to go somewhere like an airing cupboard, just for the initial germination process. Okay, no light is needed at this point, it just needs to go somewhere warm but not very hot. Now, over the course of possibly 24 hours, but it could also take up to 7 days, the seedling would germinate. It would start to grow and it would start to develop. Now, initially, it will have basically it won't look much like a plant at all. As soon as you see any sign of life, anything breaking through the top of the rock wool or through the top of the jiffy pellet, then it's time to employ some form of lighting. Either put that by the windowsill or put it actually under your light. Now, if you put this by the windowsill, seedlings cannot tolerate direct sunlight. If they get direct sunlight on a hot summer's day, then there's a good chance that they'll fall over because they won't be able to take the intensity of the light or the heat generated from the sun. So ideally they'd want to go under a propagation light. High frequency fluorescent lights are perfect for that. Mercury blend 250 watts are perfect for that. Now, if you are going to use an industrial light like high density discharge, metal halides or high pressure sodiums, you want to make sure they're an adequate distance away from the canopy of the propagator. If you're using a 400 watt high pressure sodium, for example, I would want it approximately 3 to 4 foot away from the canopy of the propagator. That should have enough distance between the light to the actual seedling itself that the light dissipates down to such a degree that it's adequate light for them but not too intense. Right, with a 400 watt light approximately 3 to 4 foot away from the lid of the propagator. Okay? And you'd want to run that light, well, I'd have it at least 18 hours a day, possibly 20 hours a day. So 4 foot away is approximately there from the actual lid. Now, I wouldn't run the light 24 hours a day, as a lot of grow books say. What you will find is if you run a light 24 hours a day for seedlings, you end up stressing them out, and undue stress is not what they need at this particular point in their life. They're very, very fragile and they need an easy breaking in, not a hard one. So give them a sleep. The whole of nature, to my knowledge, requires sleep. Why are seedlings going to be any different? And these books that state 24 hours lighting, it can work in a lot of cases, but it also has a lot of detrimental effects that I don't tell you about. So, lighting on for approximately 18 to 20 hours a day, approximately 4 foot away from the canopy. The seedling will start to grow. Before long, it will develop leaves. Now, ideally, what will happen is, before it's developed enough leaves or sustained itself to a degree where it can be transplanted into another system, you would want to break it in to a bigger rock wool cube. I.e., what will happen is roots will grow out the side and the bottom. They're going to become root bound before you can actually get them into another system. However, they're still very young and still very fragile. So what we recommend doing is, as soon as any roots start growing through the side and through the bottom, you then need to transplant that rockwool cube to a bigger rockwool cube, and then put it back into the propagator and propagate for some more. I'll get you that cube just to show you it.